Okay. I didn't realize that you weren't live at all.
No, I mean, it took me a little time to get ready.
Okay, so
Okay, my camera's on now.
okay, here we are. We're waiting for Try to appear. We had a kind of a crisis. I had a crisis at the last moment where my wife could not find her phone, and we thought it was stolen because it sent me when I tried to call it, it sent me a message back saying, "Can I call you later?" So we were like on the phone, like getting ready to cancel our credit card and all this other stuff. And we found it. So Try was actually going to stream because I had to run and do that. But we're here. We're alive. And the stream is going to continue as it was originally intended. So
you were about to get Wave Race Blue Storm on the GCHD Mark II. If anyone's disappointed about that.
But now you're going to get
Wave Race Blue Storm, but no one else does.
Whew. It was pretty nervous. I mean, I was calling the credit card company and getting ready to say, no, the car's been stolen. Please cancel it. And they were saying, they're like, oh, well, please hold, and your call will be taken care of in the order that it was received. And that's not very comforting. So, okay. So here we are. And tonight we are joined by Dan Kunz, Citrus3000psi, who
hey everybody
looks like Snickers there as well.
Yeah, sneakers.
I went and visited Dan today, and he put his new DC HDMI mod into my Dreamcast. So I'm going to be playing some games tonight using it. And I mean, I don't think there's really been any videos done on this yet that I can think of that have been.
Yeah, Tom from the Dreamcast Junkyard has done a few, but that's been about it. And I think also Christoph, I think, is in the chat too.
Oh, cool. You had mentioned that maybe he wanted to join via Discord. If he feels like it, he's more than welcome to.
Okay.
So Christoph, I believe, is the person who created the firmware for the DC HDMI, and you created the hardware for it.
Yeah, and I would say Christoph's really the mastermind behind the project. I mean, he's the main stuff. So,
what am I going to start with? What's kind of a good one to start with?
See, I feel like this is going to be probably what I'm going to want to use as my main Dreamcast going forward when I get the mod, but I'm really torn because you put it in your GDM one.
Yes.
But I want, in theory, I want to consider my main Dreamcast the one that I actually put game discs in. So I'm definitely kind of torn on which I want to put it in, but it sounds like the good thing is it doesn't affect the analog output in any way. Correct. So that stuff is still considered stock. I guess if I needed a so-called stock Dreamcast for shooting purposes, I've always got the other, but I can capture anything, I guess.
The thing about the GDMU though, it's so easy to pop out and put a normal disk drive in.
Yeah. I just don't want to do it if I don't have to.
Well, really quick here. When I get into the game, I'm gonna go into kind of show what the menu looks like.
Oh yeah, how do you bring it up on screen?
So it's LRXA and then you press start.
Okay.
And then you have the options for output resolution. So 1080p, it's a 1080p output, but it's 960p in the window, or like in the inside of that 1080p output.
Right. So it would have
black borders. Yeah.
But you can do native 960p output.
What am I doing?
Correct. Yes. So yeah, your TV will scale that up to whatever its standard resolution is.
If it can accept that resolution.
Right.
So what is Core using? Are you using native 960?
No, I'm doing 1080p.
Okay. Have you tested the native 960 on your TV? I mean, I imagine it would work.
Oh yeah, I mean it should work.
I mean, I would use that just because it would fill more of the screen.
I mean, I can do either way. I mean,
But it would screw up how you've got the
Yeah, because I think you're cropping it right now, aren't you?
yeah.
yes.
So I would just stick with it.
I'll stick with the 1080p for now. Okay, so you have the options for scan lines as well. Scan lines, I don't know if they won't show up very well on the stream. And you have like the really super thick ones. You can make them huge scan lines. But the little ones, the thin ones look really, really nice. You can change their intensity. In video modes, you can force VGA, which forces the 480p. Cable detect will detect. I mean, what I noticed is that it will detect what kind of cable you have connected to it, in addition to the HDMI. When I had my Toro set to 480p, it detected it as 480p, and when it's set to 480i, it'll output the Bob D interlaced 480i.
But now I was talking to Dan. The force VGA does not actually force the game into VGA mode, though.
Right. Yeah. It's just simulating plugging a VGA box in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it does bob. So you still need to, if you're using a GDMU, you still need to patch non-VGA
Got
games.
it. Okay.
VGA.
But I mean, there's certain
Right.
games that do not support VGA in any form, and patching those for VGA will make them run in a tiny little box.
But you can't patch Bangai-O.
Bangai-O can't be patched. It's like a list of like 5 games. And I think like the 2 big ones are Bangai-O and Last Blade 2, and King of Fighters 98 and 99.
So can Bangai-O run? Oh, we got 100 SEK bucks.
We also had a $20 earlier. I saw. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I saw that, but it was while you were gone, so I didn't get a chance to see it. Love the channel. Keep up the great content from Andreas SSG. Thank you very much.
The $20 was from Sean Bayer, and said, for food drinks during this technical difficulty. Thank you to everybody. Sorry, it's been kind of a slower start, I guess, for tonight. Okay, so yes, I mean, so the Force VGA is just for the HDMI. It's not patching the games at all.
So what's Switch Trick VGA?
So for those few like random games where they work in VGA mode but they won't boot up in VGA mode, it's like I think the Toro can do that. You can start it up in 480i mode, flip the switch after the game boots, and it'll start in VGA mode. So it does that. So you would hit that if you want to trick the game. But obviously those games that can be tricked can be patched.
Yeah,
right.
Steve was telling me something about the pins, they have to be, the software has to talk to certain pins to activate VGA mode or something, and like apparently they screwed that up a whole bunch. Apparently he says, I don't know exactly what he means, because he said like Skies of Arcadia doesn't do it right, but Skies of Arcadia is VGA.
It is. Skies of Arcadia, I found out that it is, the VGA does not work on the PAL version. I think that's where the big confusion is.
Okay, because Steve did say something, they screwed up something with Skies of Arcadia. Even though I know that it does do VGA, at least in America.
Was that the one where it has like glitches or something weird happens with the textures in the game?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have not played through the entire game on Dreamcast. I played through it on GameCube, which does not support 480p. I mean, you would think the 480p would just be a given for like a Dreamcast port, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a new member as well, it looks like.
Oh, it's Andreas with the previous donation.
Oh. Welcome.
Dominating the top of the chat room. Right there, I see. Oh, someone's asking why is the game footage running at 30 frames per second on
why is it doing
stream?
that?
Did it not connect right? Does Sonic Adventure 2 run in 60 frames?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely 60 frames. I don't know why it's
Okay,
not.
I wasn't.
I had a
wasn't
weird issue with
sure
this
if it was
before,
60
didn't
frames
I?
game or not.
It's just like one difficulty after another tonight. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. See if that fixes it.
That's happened for you before, and then you were able to get to lock onto the correct.
Yeah, I mean it's showing 60 frames. This has happened before. Let me just figure it out here.
Sharudo Paulson in the chat says, not at all a fan of this type of music, but this song is basically my 12th year of life. I mean, I do not consider myself a fan of this kind of music either, but at the same time, I can kind of get into, I am not a Sonic fan, but sometimes the Sonic music is so cheesy, it speaks to me.
Okay, let's see if this is better. There we go. Better now.
Andreas says he just watched our Seb video and it was wonderful. That video is fairly out of date by now, but thank you. I mean, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that video, even though we've changed so much.
Yeah. Well, especially you. Not as much me this time.
Yeah, that's true. My setup is changed quite a lot. I want to do kind of like a casual setup update for like maybe Patreon. Just nothing very intense, just like sort of for one of our little video logs.
I'm not a huge Sonic Adventure 2 fan. I do like. I think this the first level makes it well worth playing. Just the first level, really. It's absolutely the most memorable part of the game.
I mean, I played through it on GameCube. I got actually got the Dreamcast version of 1 and 2 recently. Like, I definitely remember from your stream with John thinking that Sonic Adventure looked... The first one looked... I don't know, it looked very confusing. Like, there were just a lot of parts where it was like, how would you know, like, where to go next? But maybe it's just because you were trying to hurry through the game.
Yeah.
Taking it at a more normal pace, maybe it's easier to figure out where to go. I don't know. I even as a Sonic fan, I just like continue to have this fascination with 3D Sonic. I mean, I wouldn't say I love 3D Sonic, but I'm fascinated by it for some reason. Sonic Unleashed was added to Xbox One backwards compatibility the other week. I don't think it's 4K, but I'm not sure. I haven't tested it yet myself.
This game tag is
I got Sonic Unleashed maybe a month ago, just because I think the music that is in the rooftop run level in Sonic Generations is like one of the best video game tracks I've heard maybe ever. It's so good. And so I got it just because of that. I've heard some people say that it's not as bad of a game as its reputation gives. Like John Linneman was actually telling me that internally it was kind of considered Sonic Adventure 3 at first.
If people want to see, I can switch over to the widescreen version if they want to see. You can do that.
Widescreen?
I mean, if people are saying like, oh, it's weird the way you have it set up. I mean, I can go this way if they want to see more of like what it would look like on the screen, but I got to rearrange some things.
Yeah, I mean the widescreen hacks do work too, so you can do those widescreen hacks that for those 30 or 40 games that people have figured out. But at that point you're stretching pixels though. So
yeah, I mean that doesn't bother me personally. Like a lot of people won't use widescreen modes on this generation of console, but I'm in favor of widescreen modes if the 2D art is scaled correctly.
Yeah.
And B, if the field of view is truly wide.
Yeah. Well, some of those like Shenmue, like the Shenmue widescreen, the field of view is significantly, increased.
Although, I've always been wary of hacks for widescreen though, because sometimes, I mean, I don't know about Dreamcast, but I've definitely seen situations where
things aren't right.
Things aren't right. Like things will, objects or characters that were not expected to be in view might pop out of visibility when they reach the edge of a 4:3 space, stuff like that. I've seen that with like Mario Sunshine, for instance.
Yeah.
And some other games.
And if you actually, Corey, if you want to demo how the aspect ratio problem that pretty much all Dreamcast or VGA boxes have, it being a 720 frame with it only using the 640 inner pixels, so the image is squashed.
Dreamcast games are supposed to be a square pixel aspect. Is that right?
Yes. So there's it outputs a 720 frame with 640 inner pixels, and then when it goes 4:3, it takes that 720 and squishes it into much. So
does the official VGA box do that?
Yes, they all do.
Interesting.
So, and actually even like the PS2 does this as well.
Well, that's a problem that I ran into with using Free McBoot with what do you call it, the GS mode select. I literally spent like 2 hours sticking all my game discs in my PS2 trying to find 2 that did not squish the aspect ratio when forcing 480p. And it took forever. Like I'm still confused. Corey, I'm apparently pushed off screen.
Oh yeah. Sorry, it's
it's one of those nights.
It is, yes. Hang on, let me fix this. There we go. Okay, I gotta fix my controls here because.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people are so obsessed with the forcing 480p on PS2, but like very few games don't screw it up. I mean, there's a possibility that you could fix it with your TV or your editing or whatever. But like, I mean, part of the problem is that the games will be then inconsistent. For example, Final Fantasy X has a squished gameplay aspect ratio, but the aspect ratio for FMVs look normal when you force 480p. So I don't think forcing 480p is worth it for PS2. For games that natively support it, though, it tends to be pretty good.
Right.
I saw someone in the chat ask if we played with the GC HD.
The Mark II.
Mark II, and if I could find one. Yes. I mean, I know I'm tiny here. If you weren't aware, we're actually joined by the engineer behind that as well. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Christoph also just said there that the aspect ratio is actually 8:9, not 1:1.
Now, by aspect ratio, do you mean the size of the individual pixels or the size of the whole screen? Because that's always a...
He's talking about the pixel aspect ratio.
Okay.
So for people that are interested in this, you've had like a couple of them for sale last week, but you're gonna be putting up more for sale pretty soon here.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of confusion. So I originally did 10 installs, and I limited myself to 10 because I didn't want. I did too many with the Wii, and I overexerted myself with the Wii. So I only limited to 10 installs of the Dreamcast, and I wanted to do those 10 to find any little quirks and any issues before I send all these kits out. So, and that's pretty much done. So 30 went up for sale this past Saturday, and then there's going to be another 30 for sale on Wednesday. And then after those sell out, I'll start a normal pre-order, and we will get as many as people want. So if someone wants to order 30, they can order 30. So and pretty much how this will go is after that pre-order is done, I will buy more to stock my web store, and then let those dwindle out. And when those dwindle out, we either can start another pre-order or I'll just buy more and just restock my web store. So it'll kind of work like that.
So keep an eye out for it then, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, these 30 that sold on Saturday sold in 2 minutes. So, not to get your hopes up, but I think this Wednesday everybody's gonna try and get them. So I don't want to say get your hopes up, but it's gonna be tough. It's just gonna be like any kit that comes out. Like I remember when the high def NES came out, those sold out like instantly.
Right.
I remember crashing Jason's website to get one. So
let's see. Extra Drillo in the chat is asking. I was guessing there's no way Dan can make this an external option. I mean, the situation with what happened with GameCube, where you were able to make an external option, is just because the GameCube was so unique in having that external access to the digital signal.
Yeah, there's only one other console that I know of, the TurboGrafx, that has that digital interface on the external.
Yeah, so I only learned about that relatively recently because I guess there's some guy in Japan who's made sort of a weird thing.
The upper graphics or Uber graphics?
Yeah. I was not aware of that, and I'm not really sure if it's sort of...
I heard it's good, but I heard it's got its issues and flaws.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something that, someone could really make something cool out of that with the right...
Well, I think it does SD loading as well, SD card loading, for the CD games or maybe normal games. But
that's right.
So, but I think
it just didn't. From what I saw, it looked like it wasn't like really. It was early, it seemed.
Yeah, and it's overpriced, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I remember looking. I don't remember what it was.
$600, I think. $599 or something.
It's not realistic, but I mean, it sounds like something maybe someone could take advantage of one day. Although, I don't know if the market for that is as big as say GameCube. But
well, the thing about it though is it is plug and play. So, and that's a bigger market than internals. Yeah. So.
I see we got from SoftBank47, we got $5 donation. Is there a reliable way to play official Japanese Dreamcast games on a North American one? I'll be living in Japan next year and want to use my Dreamcast. That's more of a question for Corey and Dan than me.
Well, I mean, those boot discs will work on anything. I mean, I have one of those boot discs. It's like has like a.
Oh, see, I don't have one. Can you burn one?
Oh yeah, I mean those things you can easily burn those.
Okay. Just a standard CDR.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never tried that. I've only got one. Yeah, I've only got one Dreamcast Japanese game. We've got Code Veronica.
So I'm gonna play some Mars Matrix.
That's
And someone
240p. Will it work?
Someone just posted in the thread here, get a clone GDMU, but I like to say that we just found an issue with one of the clones yesterday. That they have the wrong crystals in them. On some of them.
I saw you post about that.
Yeah, it had the wrong crystal. So I found out that audio didn't work with this DC HDMI, probably because it changes the bus speed.
So does it change the performance of the game?
I honestly didn't test it. It theoretically overclocks the G1 bus by about like 5 megahertz or 3 megahertz. So not much, but who knows what other side effects that causes.
Bubba D Matt is asking with the $2 donation, any other console HDMI mods in the works? Any you're aware of, Dan?
There's a PS2 coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something you're working on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've been in the dark. I've been in the dark on that. That's interesting. So I mean, that's probably why you've become aware of some of the issues regarding forcing 480p in PS2 games.
We're not even that far yet.
Yeah.
but
that'd be interesting. I mean, I feel like the Dreamcast one here might be the first like properly designed HDMI mod for a non-Nintendo system. Am I forgetting something?
I mean, that sounds right to me.
I can't think of any actually at the moment.
I mean, you know, people give us a hard time sometimes about doing too much Nintendo stuff, but the fact of the matter is more people are doing interesting things with Nintendo hardware. So if you know, we'd love to be looking at more Sega stuff and PlayStation stuff. And
I think one of the things with the Dreamcast though is like going with like the high def NES or the Ultra HDMI 64 or the Ultra HDMI. It's such a jump in quality from the RF or composite up to HDMI. Where this, you know, it's better, but comparing a good VGA cable, you know, that can go into a TV that can play VGA good, it's not. I don't want to say it's that much better. It has the correct aspect ratio. Colors are probably a little bit more proper, but I think this is more.
Yeah, I agree.
This is going to be more of a mod, I would say, for future and ongoing, where TVs don't have any VGA hookup, stuff like that. Where you want the, I mean, this is a pure digital solution, digital audio, digital video. So,
now does it have to be a VA1 system?
VA0 works too.
Oh, okay. Because I know the GDMU can only be VA1.
Right.
Someone in the chat was asking, where did it go? Does Dan know if DC HDMI kit will work with a USB GD-ROM with a internal hard drive?
Yep, it will. The mod sits below the top heat shield, so nothing is modified below atop. So it doesn't matter what mods you have up top. The only thing that I would assume the mod does not work with, I haven't tested, is people that are overclocking their Dreamcasts. I've only encountered a few of those, and I don't really know. I assume that won't work.
Now, what was the purpose of overclocking a Dreamcast? Is it like to run like Naomi?
I don't think they're running any. I don't think they're running anything. I think it's just to overclock your Dreamcast.
Just to do it.
Yeah. I don't think any games run any faster or anything. It's
just to say you're doing it.
Yeah, just to say you've got an overclocked Dreamcast. So.
It has one of my favorite things, which is a built-in reset.
Yeah, so
that is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also resets with the USB GD-ROM too. There's actually an extra wire you have to install for that to reset back to the menu. Otherwise, USB GD-ROM will just reload the previous game that was loaded.
Oh, okay.
So the GDMU and USB GDROM handle that a little differently on how they're set up. So
Sonic Prower is asking, I got a question. What's stopping me from buying the Bahar Bros Gecko for Dreamcast? Now, Gecko is which one?
I think the Gecko is the Toro is the one that has analog,
and it has SCART and VGA.
And I think Garo is the HDMI, and I think the Akura is the one that has SCART and HDMI. Is that right?
I think Akura is even a Dreamcast thing, or is that just like a general? They made one thing that's just like a general converter of some kind.
Looks like we got another.
But I'm not sure. But I mean the thing with that, I mean there's two things. One, we've kind of been hearing more recently that the Bahar Bros products are not actually quite properly designed. And the other is, I mean, you are tapping into that analog external signal. I mean, you're getting pure digital here. Now, there's definitely nothing wrong. I'll say right now with the GCHD Mark II, I prefer component over HDMI because I can plug that into the OSSC. I don't really see any noise, and I can do 960p. But the difference with this has the 960p built into it. So yeah, if there was a way to do that with GameCube HDMI, I probably would prefer just the straight HDMI output from GameCube. But you can't. So, or at least not with the way GC Video is designed right now. So, certainly if you've already gone to OSSC.
Actually, hey, Corey.
Yes.
Can you do something? Can you pause this game real quick?
Yeah.
And I want to show what the Akura and the Barrow Brothers devices do. Pretty much all devices.
Okay.
Can you pause and switch this to VGA mode
in the output
instead of 1080p?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely stretching it for the image is being stretched, just so you know.
Oh, so it doesn't.
I mean, I can.
It might just be the way his capture card.
Yeah, I can fix that. Hang on. I think I can.
Because I really want to show the difference between the aspect ratio.
Because I've never noticed it before, but I wonder if does the OSSC correct for it?
You can correct for it with the OSSC. You can adjust the like the back porch, or not the back porch, but the horizontal width.
Oh, the default input? Like I didn't realize
it doesn't do it by default.
Okay.
I can't get it to do it in here. I'd have to go into a different program to do it.
Oh, okay. But I think I understand what you're meaning.
Actually, try and put it on 480p right now, because maybe we'll be able to tell just from that. I mean,
yeah, okay, that's
because it'll probably.
I mean, it's still kind of stretched, but it's.
We'll see. So that's how it is natively outputted. So you can see having those black borders on the side, it squishes the actual entire picture.
Right.
So what it would do if you were looking at a
right here would be like a Bale Brothers.
Right, but when you said I thought you meant it would be skinny.
It is skinnier. So
if it was forced to 4:3, it would be too skinny.
Correct. Yes.
That makes sense.
But then
you should probably change it back so we're not looking
960.
at it like
960 is going to stretch it, so I'd have to adjust for that in my capture card. I'd have to. Oh,
so the 1080p puts it fills the extra space of the
that's why 1080p is totally fine, because you're still getting like the 960p in there. It's just mortised inside of a 1080p.
Right.
Frame.
As long as but you could, just like we do with
it's like 4x on the FrameMeister.
Yeah.
Which is what I prefer to do anyways.
I think it kind of just depends on what your TV handles 960p and how well it scales it up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if your TV displays it correctly as 4:3 and all that, then there's I don't think there's any reason to not. But Bubbity Matt asked just a bit higher in the chat if Saturn might be possible in the future. Is that anything you've looked into or heard any rumblings on?
The Saturn uses, so it's got two, the VDP 1 and 2 uses those two.
Right.
So it actually
doesn't generate the whole image from one chip.
Right. So it actually VDP 1 generates, I think, the background and some of the sprites, and it actually sends it over on digital RGB to VDP 2. And then from there, the VDP 2 has an internal DAC. So there's no.
So VDP 1 never comes out of VDP 2 in a pure digital form.
Correct. So you'd have to. The only way to get an HDMI would be to reverse the VDP 2 chip.
So does VDP 2 doesn't output any of its own natively?
Christoph is Chris Z2600 in the chat, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I made him a mod so people will be able to see his stuff a little bit easier. Because he was just talking about how 1080p gives you a pixel perfect 2x on a 1080p screen.
Right. It's just that gives you those bars if your TV doesn't accept 960p.
And since 1080p goes into 4K, scaled up, it probably will scale better than a 960p on a 4K. Not to say that 960p won't scale up, but who knows how, each TV has a different scaler and how they design their algorithms. So
I'm definitely looking forward to getting the Dreamcast in mind because I've just found VGA solutions to be way too fiddly. And if it would be nice to be able to just play Dreamcast with HDMI, I can get the same 960p or whatever that I could with the OSSC without having to fiddle with anything. And if I do want to use VGA, I can, plug VGA into one of my VGA monitors upstairs and get, the intended VGA experience. But I think for everyday capture and playing on a HDTV, I definitely think it's going to be the best because I've kind of been sick of looking for a good Dreamcast.
Well, they're all using the same converter chip. All the standard. They all use that same. The Wii has one. The component that same analog to digital DAC. That's been in so many. So I guess that's going from VGA to digital. But
it's kind of mind-blowing just how many games the Dreamcast has, considering how short a time it was a viable platform.
Yeah, they were smart when they released it. They definitely have their games ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like no system has the library that Dreamcast has anymore.
There's a first-person view in this?
That short time. This is kind of interesting how it's got these sloped. It's got a sloped arena. That's kind of unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean I think this is the first one to do it. Because the hardware wasn't capable of doing it in 1 and 2. I mean, admittedly, the only one I played the most is 4 probably.
Is that the one that we heard was really really big in arcades in Japan?
4 added a whole bunch of stuff to it, but 5 is had so many different versions. I see Scoot Diggity is asking how hard the mod is to install. I mean, obviously, Dan, you've done a bunch at this point and have been messing around with it for so long that it probably doesn't feel that hard. But
you probably designed it to be easy for you to install.
We did a flex cable. It's as easy as you could do it. I mean, if you did Marshall's Ultra HDMI install, you probably could do this.
Yeah.
But you still have to have. If any beginner, I wouldn't recommend it. I would go find an installer. You're going to end up probably ruining the kit and your Dreamcast at the same time.
Wow, we've got 465 people
Whew.
watching this. That's pretty crazy.
I even forgot to upload the thumbnail before. I realized.
Bubba D. Matt's asking HDMI Genesis mod that would work on CDX. Well, I mean, people would have to make a Genesis HDMI mod first.
Yeah,
I don't
we were
know.
kind of talking about it today. I mean, with the Mega SG coming out, I mean, I can't imagine a lot of people are going to really pursue, like a real HDMI Genesis.
Well, the DAC's internal on that too, so there's nothing that you can do on the Genesis unless you reverse it. Like
So
and that-
the DAC is part of the main chips. It's
Yeah.
not like okay.
correct. So yeah, and
Interesting.
that's the same thing with the Saturn. So unless you're actually reversing that entire chip,
Interesting.
So, but yeah, I mean, if you want HDMI on the Genesis, I recommend the Mega SG. I would say. Would y'all be curious to see how Keftress, because there's so many revisions, and what revision is considered right, what sound is considered right, So I kind of want to know what he decided, what he picked to match.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it kind of coming. I could see it being sourced through multiple revisions, like sound from one and other aspects from others.
Is there any requests from the chat? I mean, Dynamite Cop's always fun. I played Dynamite Cop on stream before, but I'm just gonna.
You have. What about Crazy Taxi or Crazy Taxi 2?
I'm not very good at them, but I mean, I'll play
It
that after
doesn't
I do
matter.
some.
They're fun.
I mean, I'll play just a little bit of.
There's a bare GD-ROM drive sitting upstairs that I took out of my GD-EMU system. That's got a disc of Crazy Taxi 2 just sitting on it because it was inside the system when I bought it. Just the disc of Crazy Taxi 2.
Corey, you don't have a Dreamcast keyboard, do you?
I do.
Well, let's see that typing at the dead. Let's see those skills.
That's a game I've got to get.
I'd have to dig it out, but I mean, yeah, that was a PSO player. I maxed out to 100, got version 2.0, went to about 103, I think.
Bubba D. Matt is asking again about, is HDMI PC Engine family possible? Well, you were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, it's possible.
It does actually have external digital signals from the rear port, and someone in Japan, what was it called? Uber graphics or something
it's either
like that?
it's either upper or Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like very expensive. I don't know if it's widely available. I don't think it's really been.
It does line tripling to 720p.
Okay.
I know that.
I don't know how thoroughly vetted it's been at this point. Like, I don't know.
I've heard its output is very, very good.
Uh-huh.
Now I've heard the SD card issues
It's
with
really
the playback is really funky. Like, you've got to convert your games a certain way to play.
And you couldn't use like a real CD system with it.
Right. It would only work on like the Super Graphics, Turbo Graphics. It wouldn't work with like the small core graphics, I guess, would work. But it wouldn't work with any of the Duos or RXs.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's definitely something that I could see other people maybe refining and pursuing one day. But it would definitely have to come down significantly in cost.
I love that part where he just kind of jumps to the window, like kicks to the window, and he has to show it in like a split 4-way screen.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good game. It's such a good game. It really bummed me out that was it Zombie Revenge?
Oh, it wasn't as good as.
It's not very good. It does have bullets though.
Yeah, bullets.
Bullets.
I think if the Dreamcast would have had a double joystick like the DualShock, I think that would have really upped these games a lot better.
Yeah, it's very the Dreamcast controller has always struck me as just such a strange decision.
I'm not a fan of the Dreamcast.
I don't understand why. I mean, the DualShock had been out for years. You know, why did they only go with 2 shoulder buttons or triggers, whatever you want to call them? Why did they only have one? I mean, it was a controller that was so limited in a way that just didn't make sense for the time. Although I wonder if they were maybe did that almost intentionally as like they were thinking more arcade type games, and sort of maybe they did that to keep a more sort of tight focus on how
what's
the games were
weird,
designed.
if you look at the Saturn 3D pad, though, it had 6 buttons, 6 face buttons, and then they took 2 away.
Yeah. Saturn had shoulder buttons too.
Yes,
You're right.
yeah, there was triggers on the Saturn too.
Yeah. It's a very strange controller.
Yeah, I have an adapter so I can use a Saturn controller on the Dreamcast. You know, for fighting games would be pretty good.
I used to kind of like the Dreamcast analog stick a lot, like back in its day, but I'm not as big of a fan of it now.
Someone was asking me earlier if I was using the analog stick to play Street Fighter, and I definitely was not. It's just the triggers are very
I don't
bad
like the
to
Dreamcast D-pad very much, though, either. I find that even navigating menus, sometimes I hit like the wrong, hit diagonal or something.
Actually, a weird fact. Did you know that the back of the Saturn cable unplugs?
The back of
the Saturn 3D pad?
Oh, yeah.
I literally just learned that like the other day. I've had a Saturn pad forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't even know why they did that. Oh, it looks like we got an our $5 donation asking if...
Is HDMI for Atari 2600 pop?
I mean, that's a question you actually kind of get a lot, I think. Dan,
I
you're kind of talking about it today.
I feel like most of the time when people bring up Atari 2600, like on our channel, they're like joking. But I mean, you know, there is the Tim Worthington RGB mod for it that I've fully intended to get one day, and I haven't. I don't know if anyone's going to pursue HDMI. I mean, you know, there is the jailbreak NT Mini with Atari cores. So
I don't know much about that chip, but I would think that I would think it's possible, but would you want to? An RGB is that good, you know, for it?
Yeah.
Try. What did you say I should play earlier?
I mean, I thought you should play Crazy Taxi.
Okay.
Or maybe Hydro Thunder. I'd like to see you play some.
I'd play some Hydro Thunder.
Hydro Thunder is a game I want to like, but
I think Guilty Gear looks amazing on this mod.
Oh, I can imagine. I don't know if I have it on here. I can see if I'd had it or not. I didn't even think about that. Oh, you know, I've heard that early pressings of Hydro Thunder do not support VGA. So I think that's what's happening here.
Oh, you got the wrong one. That one has Hydro Thunder has a hot new.
You know what, Corey? Try the VGA trick on that game.
The Force.
Yeah, like switch the mode to VGA trick and then reload the game.
Okay.
Just see what happens.
All right.
I can't remember if I've ever played a console version of Hydro Thunder. I feel like I might have rented it for something once, maybe. But I know I've played in the arcade. But I don't know. It's no wave race to me.
Okay, so I'm gonna go. See, it does that. Okay, so video mode, switch trick VGA. Okay. and it reboots the system. I'll try it.
So if you do that, is everything running in 480i then?
It starts in 40i, then switches.
Okay.
So we'll see here. So like, actually, I don't know how this will work on a GDMU. No, I don't think this will work on a GDMU because it's expecting it from the start of the console.
Well, let's see what happens regardless.
If not, you're stuck playing Crazy Taxi. You'll have to get another.
Yeah, I'll have to get a newer version of it.
Yeah.
The hot new version.
The
of it.
hot new Hydro Thunder.
Nope.
I feel like Hydro Thunder is a game I would like if I put more time into it. It's just I play it very limitedly in the arcade and can't remember if I ever tried it. I mean, I think there's an N64 version. I don't know. Phantom Knot is down to see some Cannon Spike.
And I mean, this is what will happen anyways. You have to... this stuff gets out there and then people test it. Like, it's more than you could ever have hoped to test it anyways. And then you figure out like if things need to be added in the firmware.
Back?
I will do that right now. I do like that. I mean, I guess I could just do non-VGA. So I mean, let's just do that since if I want to play Hydro Thunder, you can see what happens when you don't run the game in VGA. But I think that I have the IS.
So it would be Bob, right?
Yeah, but I have the game patched to force the VGA.
Oh,
but yeah, because I mean.
Well, wait, it wouldn't force VGA if it thinks if it's playing out an interlaced system, right?
So
I mean, if you were connected with composite cables, it wouldn't try to force.
Right. So what you need to do is you go to video mode, cable detect, and then you got to switch it to 480p. It'll be Bob deinterlace like this. This will show up as Bob. Yeah, this is Bob right here.
Well, then I would think Hydro Thunder would work as Bob in that case.
Yes, it would.
So try it.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. See, if I go into the menu, I can go to options, and there's force VGA. I'm going to turn that to off.
Imagine if Dan designed a super gun. I imagine it'd be a lot less fiddly than a lot of others
Isn't there a
that are out
couple?
there.
Isn't there a couple good ones now? Isn't the Haas pretty good?
Yeah, the Haas is like the Haas and the.
You don't
Sentinel.
have one yet, do you, Corey?
No.
I need to get one. I've got a few
Here we go.
arcade stuff, but no super gun to hook them up. So,
See the like as we talked about earlier, the problem with the 480p, I mean with the Bob deinterlace, don't you have to set that resolution to 480p, right? Or is that?
no, only 240p will not work in 1080p mode
okay,
or
okay,
960p. 40i will line double up. So you can leave it at 1080p.
Got it.
It'll
So
work
this
fine.
would be the normal early pressing of Hydro Thunder experience with the interlacing.
Hang on, I'm just trying to find my save game here.
And I think there will be a 480i output, direct output. So let your TV, do the deinterlacing.
Right.
That'll probably be a firmware update eventually in the future.
I mean, you have like a bunch of ideas.
I feel like my 4K TV does not do a particularly good deinterlace. I've tried doing some pass-through stuff. I was trying it with the Mark II actually earlier today, and it just
looks.
Yeah, my old TV I think did a much better deinterlace.
This game is really fun to play in the arcade.
Mm-hmm.
You have like the throttle. It has the boost right on it.
Why could you see the sun flare through the tunnel? I mean, I am all in favor of a good lens flare, but I've never seen that happen.
It's a bright lens. It's burning through.
That seems unhealthy. I think sort of a big hurdle a lot of people are going to have with this, though, is that Dreamcast is a very, very, very dithered system.
Yeah, especially like Marvel vs. Capcom, you see it.
Even on 2D games it's dithered, which is kind of weird, but
it's kind of a weird looking dither too. It's like these like a diamond pattern.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, dithering does not bother me personally. I just kind of see it as a characteristic of these systems.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are really not going to like see that. Do you know if you or Christoph ever like considered whether it might be possible to like have some sort of anti-dither filter? Like, is that even possible?
There was a so the OSSC has that interpolation, horizontal interpolation feature.
Like
it was made
for the Super Nintendo.
No, for the OSSC. The OSSC has a firmware modified by Red Guy.
Okay.
And he has this horizontal interpolation that does smooth the image out, and that's been thought about putting that in. So when you do line doubling, it kind of can smooth that image out a little bit and reduce those jaggies if it's too jaggy for you. But in terms of dithering, that would be more of a Christoph answer. I don't know.
No, Chris is saying dithering is imminent to the system, but we see what's possible.
I mean, I would probably not use a filter like that personally, but I think some people would be interested.
The filtering is kind of interesting. If you do look when you get time, just Google that, and you'll see a pretty good snapshot of Raymond. And it has a pretty good comparison.
Someone was asking, do you know of an adapter that would convert S-video to HDMI if the TV can't be found that has S-video? I mean, there are a ton of composite and S-video to HDMI adapters. I wouldn't count on any of them being very good.
Well, the RetroTink is what you'd want.
That's what I was going to say. The RetroTink, I mean, it's $100, but it is by far, I would say, the simplest, fastest, possibly the best looking. I don't know. The FrameMeister is probably looks better for S-video, but I feel like the RetroTink is like a more true representation of what S-video should look like. I've kind of moved over to using it for my comparisons, even in 480i situations. I actually really like how the RetroTink handles 480i. It does do a bob, but it also has a smoothing option, which looks bad on 240p, but it's kind of interesting on 480i. I was using the RetroTink just with this GameCube episode to do composite and S-video versus component comparison, using component on the OSSC so I could do 480p, because that's the big weakness is that RetroTink is it cannot do 480p with component cables, but it can accept component cables.
Looks like we got a donation. I heard it come through at least.
Here we go. From Awesome the RPG Nut, $5. Hey, MLiG team, how's it going? Question for you: did you guys get Smash Ultimate on launch? If so, what do you guys think of it? Funny story. When I woke up this morning, my power was out, and I almost played Smash Ultimate for the first time because of it, and then the power came back on. I'm like, well, I guess I have to work now. No, sadly, I picked it up on Friday from my pre-order at Best Buy, and I want to play it, but I'm working on this GameCube video quality update video that has been one of the most challenging videos I've ever worked on, I think.
Is that coming out like next month?
Thankfully, no. I mean, I feel like I could finish it in like the next 2 to 3 days, I hope.
Yeah.
I really wanted to have it out this weekend, or at least on Monday. But sadly, it's still taking some work.
You know, was Star Wars Pod Racer on the Dreamcast?
It was. I don't think I have
so.
it though. Oh, I do.
Does the Dreamcast version of that have music?
I think so. I don't know. I used to have it.
Because the N64 version has no
my old
music
save file
during gameplay.
LLL. That's my.
I wonder if they ran out of resources
from like years ago, from like 17 years ago. That's kind of funny.
Let's go make some crazy money. Go ahead and pick a car and driver.
Webson 7 is excited about the upcoming GameCube video. I'm glad. I hope a lot of people are excited for it. It's interesting. It's very interesting. You know, I think people will be surprised by what they see from analog out, component and RGB output.
Yeah, that's the cool part about open source. I mean, all the GameCube stuff happened because of, Unseen's open source stuff. And, the Dreamcast, this Dreamcast is open source too. So
the
people
firmware
can't...
and the hardware, or?
Yes.
Both?
Yes. I haven't released the flex cable yet. I was going to wait for these to sell, but after that, I'll release the files for the flex cable.
Yeah, I mean, you want to at least be able to make back your time investment on it.
Yeah. But yeah, the goal is, I mean, I'm not going to be... like, here's an example. So the person that sells the... for the ColecoVision, I think it's called like the VX4 or something. It's a FPGA mod that outputs VGA out of the ColecoVision.
Oh, wow.
You can't get it because the guy doesn't sell it anymore, and the files don't exist, and so that's kind of the thing is I'm eventually going to probably stop selling this product, and I want other people that if they want to make it, they can make it, or someone else can make it and sell it. I think that's kind of the way to do it. So, or let someone take it and maybe modify it or figure out a better way to do it or something, And I think that's what happened with the GC video. It's kind of progressed, people found better ways and different ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, GC video, with the new solutions, there's basically no other need for anything else at this point. All the bases are basically covered now.
Yeah,
Boy,
I mean, I'm sure refinements may happen over time, but I don't think it's... I think we're past the point of further transformative changes for GameCube.
I think the next step in GameCube is getting a bigger FPGA that can do more things, more 960p, similar to the Dreamcast. I don't think it needs any more features, just more scaling abilities, things like that.
Right.
That's why the reason this is the version they have, because it has Tower Records and
KFC and all the original
KFC
stuff.
And yeah, that's why
this
version.
This game, I definitely want to get a Dreamcast. Is this Crazy Taxi 1 or 2?
1. I mean, I don't like the second one as much because they added in like the jumping and all that other stuff. It just seemed like they added stuff that
I don't
really necessary.
know much about Crazy Taxi 2. I'm not sure if I ever played Crazy Taxi 2. I remember Crazy Taxi came out on the GameCube. I don't think it was right at launch, but it was pretty close. And I remember like, oh yeah, I'm getting that. I love playing Crazy Taxi. But then once I got it on GameCube, I kind of realized that the thing I like about Crazy Taxi, it's very much a, you know, play at your friend's house kind of game.
Yeah, I can
like,
see that. Yeah.
Playing your own copy, it's like, oh, I don't feel like playing it as much.
I mean, it's an arcade game.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not something to sink a lot of time into.
I was first time I played Crazy Taxi, I was a little disappointed. I used to love playing Carmageddon on PC.
Yep.
And so I would constantly
I had
just try to hit people.
Of 2 I played all the time.
And I would just constantly try to hit people on Crazy Taxi, and that's just not an option.
Yeah.
They always get out of the way.
Yeah. Class C. I used to be able to do something where I'd get caught sideways, and I just keep on accumulating money. I think that's probably why my. Let's see.
You should play some SoulCalibur.
Oh, I should have that on here. Oh, Dan, I left my 32 gig SD card.
Actually, I saw that. I'll mail that back to you.
I mean, next time I see it. I mean, whenever if it's just a 32 gig card. It's not even a big deal.
All right.
What was it from?
It's just another one of my GDMU cards.
Oh, okay. So you've got GDMU spread off across a few cards.
Well, I mean, this is the 128 that I have in here. I was using that.
Is your other card like your games you actually own card or something?
Well, that's what I want it to be, yes. But I think I might need a bigger one anyways. I mean, I can get a 64 gig for like $20 at this point.
I'll tell you, SD prices are going down so cheap.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
Makes you wonder if the quality of construction changed at all. I don't know. I mean, I've been skeptical of Flash Media ever since. I mean, I know this is, you know, kind of different, but like I've had like so much trouble with Vita cards. Like I know, and that's a proprietary thing and all, but like it's kind of made me think about the whole, you know, storing things on itty bitty cards thing.
Well, that's the thing. Anytime you plug a card in, it's liable to not work. You know. Well, we had a little similar issue with that 128. We were plugging it in and it wasn't working. And after like a couple inserts, it just detected it. So, but always keep that stuff backed up.
I recorded a comparison in SoulCalibur 2 earlier today, and it made me want to play SoulCalibur 6, which I got on a Black Friday deal. And then I realized, why am I thinking I want to play SoulCalibur 6 when I really should be thinking I want to play Smash Brothers? But like I don't like I feel I'm just like weirdly unexcited about Smash Brothers. Like it doesn't feel that long ago to me that the Smash Wii U came out at, I guess.
I forgot how to.
So is Taki your main?
I used her probably the most. Yeah, but I don't remember. It's been a while.
I never really understood Taki.
I mean, in this one, I think that in 2 it was Talum.
Talum's pretty fun.
Yeah.
My favorite in the series in general is Sung-Mina, which I feel like I heard not too long ago that she's I don't know if it applies to her. I've heard that Keelik is considered like
the main character.
The noob character. I don't know if Sung-Mina necessarily is the same, but I take no shame or embarrassment from that. I do not consider myself a good fighting game player. I just find Sung-Mina's moveset to be kind of easy to use. So she always
like the flips.
I always felt like her moveset.
That's it.
Like she's very similar to Keelik, but I always felt like I played better with Sung-Mina.
This is such a good game, though. This first one,
I think-
this was mind blowing to see this in action the first time.
Oh yeah. Oh, and it was better looking than the arcade.
Yeah. My favorite music in the entire series is in this one too. The Siegfried level, City of Water. Love that.
The only soundtrack that I know particularly well is SoulCalibur 2. I don't. The others, I mean, they're good, but they just haven't burned into my mind. You know, I haven't played them quite as much as 2. When I played through the Dreamcast version of the single player mode, whatever the single player mode in this is called, I mostly used Shenmue because it takes, I think, a good bit of work to unlock Sing Nina. So
Did you get 6?
I did.
Oh, you got it when it was like
I-
$30 or something, when it was cheaper, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think it might have stacked with the Best
Oh, we
Buy.
got another donation coming
Oh.
through here.
I don't
It
know
looks
if
I
Oh,
think
here we go.
I don't think it's a super chat.
Sizzloof donated $5. Hi, Try. You and I share the same TV. I'm using my fat PS3 to play PS1 games. The quality seems pretty poor. Do you recommend any particular settings? I mean, for PS1 games, I keep smoothing off. I mean, it's a little bit soft. I mean, I set the system to 1080p. I don't think it matters really for the PS1 output whether you set the 720p or 1080p. I mean, it's definitely soft, but it's consistent. I feel like it's, there's a lot worse ways of scaling that I see PS1 games sometimes treated with. And I'm just glad that it's even. It's a little soft, but at least it's even and it's the correct aspect ratio. I mean, I'll take a little softness if it means getting the correct aspect ratio and not having uneven pixel sizing. If you put in certain PS1 game discs, like I know Suikoden does this, Valkyrie Profile does this, Castlevania Symphony of the Night does this, they display ultra sharp for some reason with the disc, not with the downloads, with the discs. Some discs though look somewhat soft, just like the download versions. But definitely turn smoothing off for PS1 games. However, I think you should always have smoothing on for PS2 games if your system is backwards compatible. I think that is the best visual representation that you can get for PS2 games on a original hardware or semi-original hardware solution. I think that might have been the exact line from the PS2 script. But I think it looks really, really good. It's not how I choose to play PS2 games because I only have the partial hardware systems. I don't have the full hardware system.
You talking about the EO one?
The what?
The EO one? Are you talking about the fat PS3s?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the launch PS3s have like a hardware,
Yeah, the
CPU and GPU.
Yeah, the AO1 and the BO1 are those. And
Okay.
the BO1 I don't think has Wi-Fi. And I think the EO1 is what you're talking about, where they removed one processor and like did a partly software emulation.
I think they kept the graphics processor and used software for the CPU.
Maybe.
Or it's one or the other.
It only lost a few games in terms of support, right?
I think that's overall true. I think it's generally pretty good, but I think even for the games that are supported, there can be some different behavior. But overall, I think it's pretty solid. What's interesting, you should, since you're kind of working on PS2 stuff, you should watch our PS2 episode. What's interesting is that those systems actually, I did not expect the visuals to be different between full hardware systems and then like the partial hardware systems. But they are different. I don't think it has necessarily anything to do with the backwards compatibility method used. I think they just tweaked the scaling.
For performance reasons on the.
I don't know if it would be for performance reasons. I mean, it kind of depends on the game, in my opinion, which one looks better. The later ones actually look sharper, and the earlier ones look sort of smoother. It really just depends on the game which one is the better scaling technique. I don't know if it has anything to do with performance, but it's interesting. But I think easily, though, in my opinion, I mean, if you're thinking about creating a PS2 HDMI solution, I think that I think PS2 games look best on PS3. Now, what's interesting though is that they do a motion adaptive interlace, like for 480i games. Like you can, if you try really hard, you can get sort of the combing errors.
Right.
Even though it's all digital, so that's interesting. I don't know if everyone seems to be trying to implement Bob on these sorts of solutions, for speed reasons, and I guess because of simplicity of implementation. But I think it'd be interesting to see, the option for,
a full. Well, yeah, for the PS2 that Christoph and I are working on, it'll have a full frame buffer.
Oh, okay.
For proper deinterlacing. Now, Bob will be included as well for for people that want lag free. But
right. Well, I think that's the way to do it. Just have that option, because for PS2, like, I mean, there's going to be some people that'll just never like Bob.
Yeah, I actually don't prefer Bob. I've never really liked it. I'd rather take. I've
gotten weirdly used to it.
Yeah.
we were talking about it today a little bit. That it's a really good way to approximate in our videos what interlacing looks like on a CRT. As well.
That's part of why I like it. It's not for everyone, but I feel like when we were working on that sort of Wii Shop channel sort of celebration video, I had my Wii set to 480i for most of the production of that episode because because of the 240p and virtual console games, you have to have your system.
Guys, I haven't played this since December of 1986. Actually, look at my save time on this. June 24th, 2001. That's the last time I played Shenmue.
That's crazy.
I
think like you didn't play very far into it either.
I didn't. I mean, it's a disc 2, it looks like.
Oh,
I have to. Let's see if I'm gonna change the disc hand.
But so since I had it set to that so much, I saw my Wii menu quite a lot in 480i, and I feel like that was like kind of the turning point for me. I'm like, this Bob stuff might not be so bad. Like I don't even really think about it now.
It's almost making you sound like drinking beer. You got to just start drinking it and get over it until you like it.
I don't think it's that bad. I hope people aren't annoyed when they see it in some of our more recent videos. Because to be honest, I don't have my FrameMeister hooked up downstairs anymore because it was just kind of causing a lot of complications and additional wires in my setup that I felt were sort of making things messy. So I'm planning to mostly capture FrameMeister stuff upstairs with a sort of a separate capture setup I'm doing up there, just to make my downstairs setup a little cleaner. But yeah.
But yeah, so I will see how that frame buffer works, but I think that'll be pretty cool. And I think the interesting thing will be a lot of those games that have those transitions from 480i to 240p. Some of those PS2 games that switch back and forth between menus. It should be there should be the TV shouldn't cut off. It'll be seamless.
Oh, or you mean PS1 games?
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, I never really, when you're talking about working on a PS2 HDMI mod, I'm not even considering, the implications for PS1.
Yeah, because we'll obviously do PS2 games first, but since they're all backwards compatible, it's almost a requirement.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure it's going to be somewhat limited what hardware can be installed on.
Currently, we're going to do the slim models first.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Just because of reliability, and I think a lot of people have slims. I know people have fats. I'm not saying they don't, but we can support, I think, everything but the 9000, the last model,
which is quite a different piece of hardware.
Yeah, I think it doesn't work with the free McBoot. I think it's
yeah, that's right. It does not.
It's totally different on the inside. It's actually really not. It's really just a space issue, since they crammed everything in there because it's got the power supply built in. It's just not going to be possible.
I feel like what's the first slim? Is it 7000 or?
Yeah.
I feel like those run like surprisingly hot.
Well, that's the one to get because it's full hardware.
Right. What the way Voltar described it to me is it is literally I think is it 5000? Is that the last fat?
Yeah, or 54 or something maybe. Or...
Yeah, he said whatever the last fat that they made before they started. I don't know if they continued making fats after they started making slims. But whatever the immediately preceding fat model before the first slim model, he said is literally all the exact same hardware. It's just on a smaller board.
Right. And so but actually there is a little caveat to that. I've actually opened up 2 7000 series, and one, they changed a motherboard revision inside that. So even if you even get a 7000, it may not have that. It may not be the full hardware. They made a separate revision.
What's the difference? What did they take away?
I think it's the IOP processor, which is like an offloaded processor. I think they combine that on a die. I would have to relook it up again, or maybe they combine the CPU and graphics synthesizer together.
I've actually got 2 7000s, so now I'm curious. One of them, the disk drive, doesn't work too well. I have so freaking many PS2s. Like,
the cool thing about the PS2, because everybody's crazy about no cut, if you have the one with the modem, there'll be no cut solution for that.
That's huge.
So it'll go to where the modem sticks out. So you'll lose your modem, but who uses 56K nowadays?
So wait, so you can it would be like it would be a Ethernet to HDMI adapter?
No. So when I say modem, they all have Ethernet, but there's also some of the early 7000 series models have a 56K modem built into them, like telephone line. And so the mini HDMI will sit in that spot.
Okay.
Obviously, all the later models that don't have that, you'll have to cut the case.
Okay.
So play some Space Harrier.
Why not?
And then for fats, we probably will do a fat model that'll be like 3900 and up. But that'll be later. That'll be a separate board revision. There's no way to make 2 boards work the same console.
Right.
So we'll try and make the flex cable work on both, but doubtful that the board will work from what I've seen.
I do like the 9000 though, because I just feel like it doesn't run very hot. The 7000 is like, I put my hand back there, I'm like, man, like it just seems worryingly warm.
Yeah.
Especially for something that's in such a small case. But at least that's mine, hopefully nothing's wrong with it anyway.
Yeah, I think the 7900s run pretty cool too. There's probably 10 PS2 Slim board revisions.
Jeez.
So
Well,
That's a lot of testing to do.
Whenever you're ready with that one, I mean, it sounds like I might end up buying yet another PS2.
well, that's the thing is, so all the series have there's only probably like 4 or 5 series of PS2 Slims, but each series has like 2 or 3 board revisions inside that series, and sometimes they're minor, sometimes they're not.
You know what's crazy is I don't know how I went so long with not knowing this, but like I had no idea that the PS2 Slim was a top loader until like probably like 2012. I don't know. It was a weirdly long time.
Well, honestly, if you've never had one, you probably would think it's a front loader because it's got that same style front plate.
It looks very similar. Yeah.
I see Retro Morgan's asking like what I think about the 32X Space Harrier. I think it's really good. It's a really good version, but it runs at 30 frames per second.
But it looks arcade perfect.
But yeah,
otherwise.
it looks basically arcade perfect.
How's this version?
This version looks good. I can tell, even though I can't hear it very well, I can tell that the music is off.
The floor looks like it's true 3D. Is the floor?
And that's how it is in the
somehow?
arcade.
Really? It looks really good.
Yeah, and it's just scaling. I don't know if there's any other arcade games to play in here. Looks like I played it before. But it's cool. I think this mod is like, because I remember we had seen it back in May when we had you were still kind of testing it, but just kind of playing with it now, like I'm able to appreciate it even more, even just than seeing it when I was at your place earlier today.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
very,
it's very crisp.
It's going to be the clear way to play Dreamcast.
Yeah, I mean,
sort of playing on a VGA monitor. I guess you could dual output. There's no reason you couldn't output to a VGA monitor and HDMI at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, there's the Dreamcast Junkyard does have some good comparison shots, and it's pretty noticeable versus like the Pound cable, the Acura. It's pretty. I don't want to say striking, but the level of detail is significant versus over them.
It's got to feel good too.
Any episodes on the Mister? Corey has a Mister. We streamed it a few weeks ago. I think before we do anything on that though, we just kind of want it to be further along, I guess, in terms of development.
Yeah, more mature because there's news every week. There's like 10 new things that come out from Mister.
Yeah. Play some Cannon Spike. Then also put a new battery in it. Plays Cammy.
Oh yeah, had it been dead for
for a long time.
Ever.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the Saturn has the user replaceable battery and Dreamcast does not.
Well, I think they were like, hey, we'll put a rechargeable battery in the Dreamcast and they'll never have to mess with it. And they didn't realize that those batteries will die after, 8 years.
Oh, so it is a recharge. It's intended to be a rechargeable battery.
Correct. Yeah, and I think if you put a normal non-rechargeable battery in, I think that you could cause that battery to leak, or because it's constantly trying to charge that battery.
Oh, so you have to put in a very specific battery.
Yeah, I think it's
it's not
LR.
It's
like
okay. I just assumed it was doesn't Saturn use a 2032?
And there was another
it
thing.
is.
Oh god, sorry.
No, I'd say that this battery's a 2032, but there's a so the CR 2032 is the non-rechargeable, and then there's an LR and there's an MR. So I did put I think an LR into yours, Corey.
Oh,
so yours isn't gonna blow up.
You think?
And there was something else I didn't know that Dan told me about is about the voltage when it comes to having the power supply when it comes to having a GDMU in. Like it heats up because of a 12-volt rail in it. That's not is needed for the GD-ROM. But you can remove it. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, so if you ever notice old 12-volt power supplies, if you measure them on your multimeter, they might read 14 volts, 15 volts on the output. It's because there's no load on that regulator. So when there's no load, it actually can produce more heat versus if there's a little tiny load on it. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what's happening in these cases. The GD drive is what's using the 12 volt. So when you pull those out, it will that regulator will heat up to about 14 volts and just produce more heat. So
is that something you can fix?
Yeah, you can just pull it out, or you can put a 100-watt resistor on that 12-volt rail.
Do you think it's a problem to not do anything about it?
There's actually there's a Colin Gall who does all that 3D printing. He actually ran a bunch of tests recently, and it was about I want to say 10 degrees warmer. With it, so it's not crazy, but I don't know.
This sounds like a decent precaution to take.
Right. Yeah, I mean I don't think any consoles are gonna die from it. Otherwise, we'd be hearing about it nonstop. Yeah. But
are Dreamcast disk drives is it difficult to get the proper replacement for the laser or anything?
I've honestly never looked. I think the Dreamcast drives are pretty solid. I've never had to replace one.
Because I ran into some issues playing Resident Evil 2 a few weeks ago. The disc locked up on me twice, in pretty quick succession, and I actually switched over to playing on my GDMU unit instead because of that, and that's the only time I've ever had a problem.
Did the disc just stop spinning?
No, I don't think it stopped spinning. It just I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I think the game just froze.
Is your drive really, really loud?
It's pretty loud, but people have told me Dreamcast tends to be pretty loud anyway.
It just is, yeah.
Well, it is loud. I was wondering if it
was talking about though.
I was wondering if it was louder than what it normally is.
No, I wouldn't say it was louder than normal.
Because sometimes when they get really loud, you just need to grease one of those rails on that moves the laser back and forth. But
I mean,
I don't know why that keeps happening. I wonder if that's my switcher. Sometimes it just kind of cuts off. Hang on.
I mean, I kind of feel like I would like the HDMI, my regular GD-ROM, non-GDMU system. Just because, I feel like if I'm going to really play a Dreamcast game, it's going to be a game I own, and so I'd like to use it and that. But, I can always swap the GDMU into that if I have to.
Yeah. Someone in the chat just asked if any of these HDMI mods add lag. This mod is lagless, or at least maybe 2 lines get buffered. So it's not a full frame buffer. So 2 lines or 1.5 lines.
Yeah. So I mean, so many of these mods, lately, the GameCube stuff, the Dreamcast stuff, and of course things like the OSSC. They're designed to be lag free, but then what happens after that is up to your TV.
Yeah. Exactly.
So your TV may cause some degree of lag. I don't know much about the Ultra HDMI lag. Do you know anything about the numbers on that? I remember when it first came out, I believe it says something to the effect of it may depend on the settings you choose on the system, what kind of lag it has.
I think direct mode is lagless.
Okay. I'm not sure what features are limited there.
I don't think there's any scaling options.
Okay.
It's just
I like the scaling options, but I'm guessing it's not too much lag that
he probably only needs a frame, so it's probably a frame and a half. I would say frame and a half at most, but probably just a frame.
A lot of people talk about that a lot of people think it's impossible to have lag free with HDMI, and I don't know if that's true.
It is. There's only one guy that has it, and it's a guy named Zisworks, and it's not really meant for the average user, but if you have this certain version of Seiki TVs, it converts that TV into lagless.
Oh, is this this is the guy that was making like the lag-free displays?
It was like an add-on kit for some of these panels.
Okay.
So, and I don't really know how they work with 480p games or 240p games, because according to him, it does integer scaling. So if you supposedly feed it like 720p, it'll integer scale up to 720p to 4K until it doesn't fit, and then have black borders.
Interesting.
I would like to get one, but just they're not available. So.
But I feel like some people.
I've not played Tony Hawk in forever.
I feel like some people think that that just like HDMI specification just is inherently has lag, but it's I don't believe. I mean,
no, there's too many gaming monitors that are 1 millisecond. So like there's a lot of BenQs and Asus monitors that are for competition gaming that have 1 millisecond lag that which to me is lagless in a way.
Yeah, I mean it may as well be. It may as well be.
It's going to be.
In my opinion, anything that is under a frame is like you may as well not even worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I have a D series Vizio. It's under a frame, I think, or 13 milliseconds or 14 milliseconds. But I think once more games become more mainstream and just not that they're not mainstream, but once one TV manufacturer decides to make a true game mode that's actually lagless, I think the others will follow suit. Because
I think especially with some of the modes coming to HDMI 2.1, like the what's it called, the
like FreeSync, is that what you're talking about?
Well, there's FreeSync, and then there's also like the what's it called? There's like this instant mode switch where like there's not like
Oh.
Supposedly, there's not going to be like in the future. There won't be a hiccup.
In
between,
2.1, right?
What did I say?
I don't remember, but like I said,
I meant 2.1. Yeah, like there's going to be this thing that's not, you're not going to get like a sync drop when content changes. So, for example, like if you're loading up a Blu-ray or whatever is probably the intended use, but in theory, someone could, make a new type of OSSC, or maybe there could even be an OSSC update. I don't know if it would be extra hardware or what, but in theory, that would make it so that the OSSC or a similar product could change resolutions all day and you'd never see the switch.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what panel manufacturers actually put those settings in, or what they'll do.
But it sounds like a lot of HDMI 2.1 features are geared toward, kind of being very tolerant of different refresh rates, variable refresh, instantly make it possible to instantly switch content, switch resolutions. So it sounds like it's all designed around just being instantaneous.
Yeah.
So that makes me hopeful that.
I do have myself. Should we see what my I look like? My skin.
Oh, no.
There I am. I got hair.
Oh no! I don't know if I want if I'm ready to see it. Look at that.
I weighed 238 pounds at the time. It looks like age 22.
Ooh, that is almost half your life ago.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, it is weird. Like my Mischief Makers cartridge has you enter your age on your Mischief Makers file, and I've got a age 16 file.
I'm good all around.
You're all around.
Yeah. That's funny. I mean, if you look through my memory card, though, I mean, I'm sure I have plenty of stuff like that.
Yeah, just like that Shenmue.
Yeah, I mean, I've never finished Shenmue, so I'm not gonna pretend like I liked it more than I did. I fell asleep playing the first one, like waiting for stuff, because you couldn't fast forward time in that one, I don't think, and I fell asleep waiting for something to happen.
So this Dreamcast is not you don't have your original Dreamcast.
I thought I did,
anymore,
but
right?
maybe I don't. I mean, we kind of discovered that today. I mean, I got my system on launch, and it was not a VA0.
I thought VA0s were only in Japan.
I mean, that's what I thought until today.
No, I have one.
You have an American VA0.
Yeah.
I wonder if all launches are VA0s, or if there could be some VA1s at launch.
That's kind of what we were thinking. Maybe they did a little bit of a production run of VA0s for North America, and then also switched to VA1 at the same time.
Because I was going to ask, because you said we're looking at your old VMU saves, and for some reason I thought you got rid of your Dreamcast, but you definitely have your old VMUs.
Me? Oh yeah. I mean, I have the 4X card, the official 4X, that is basically full of everything.
JF works in a retro video game store and says VA0s seem more common than VA2s.
I think that's true, because I was on the hunt for a VA0, and I found more VA0s than 2s when I was looking for them. I do have a VA. No, go ahead.
Is there any advantage to a VA2?
Well, there's definitely no advantage, because it can't. Well, about 50 of them can't play backups.
Oh.
They fixed that, CDI loading, or that backup loading, halfway through that revision. So if you get a VA2, it may or may not play backups.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure they tried to cheap the console out too by doing something. But the VA0 is cool because it has the heat pipes,
Oh.
but it's louder. The fan sits closer to the case, so it's significantly louder. So,
But the GDMU can only go in a VA1, right?
yes, the getting technical, the GD drive on the VA0 runs at 5 volts, and the VA1 runs at 3.3 volts.
Ah, that makes sense.
And that's why the USB GD-ROM works, because he actually uses the same IC, the same chip that's in the GD drives themselves. So,
in general, I mean, it sounds like a vast majority of Dreamcasts are VA1.
oh yeah, I mean, if I had to put numbers on it, I would say 90 to 95% are VA1s.
Wow.
So,
I love this game. I really need to replay this sometime.
Yeah, I need to replay it, but actually on Dreamcast instead of GameCube. Yeah, it's an amazing game.
yeah, someone asked, any opinion on GDMU versus USB GD-ROM. My opinion is, if you want to have the full set at will, get the USB GD-ROM. If you don't care about having the full set, or more if you want to have games that you want to let you actually play, get the GDEMU.
What do you mean by that you actually want to play? Is it
Well,
more
like
user-friendly for playing?
Well, if you have like a full set, you're only going to still play 20 games out of that set.
Right. I know. Yeah. I mean, it's something we talk about all the time. Like,
Yeah,
having a limited selection makes it more likely that you'll actually play.
Right. So when you have and I know that if you put like a 400 gig card into the GDEMU, I heard it takes like 3 minutes to load the menu.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, I would split it in between multiple cards. The 128 is just, it's fine anyways, as it is. And then if I was going to put everything, I would just get like
mine. I'll probably
cards.
mostly put just games I actually own, plus maybe a few that just make interesting capture examples.
Man, the soundtrack.
I played Skies of Arcadia on the GameCube, and like what I remember is my favorite summer ever. Like it was my first summer home from college, and it just like I feel like a year of college just like made the summer so much better. I just appreciated it so much more. Having that time off, and I know I played Skies of Arcadia. I'm sure I played a few other games, but Skies of Arcadia is the one I always remember playing that summer. I remember the way I had my game room set up at the time. There was like a window to my left, and if I turned my head to the left and looked at the window, I could see the reflection of my screen in the window. And for some, like, I liked looking over at the reflection every once in a while, just because I felt like it made the game look more real. If that makes sense. Like, something about how the reflection made it like one step further removed from the clarity that I could see on my screen, like somehow made it like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It was a very weird thought that I had at the time.
I was wondering what's happening, and then the dog was I thought the dog was eating Dan's headset for a second there.
Oh.
So when Dan gets back, we're gonna have him tell you about this crazy SVHS player he gave me today.
What?
It's like a
like
serious.
gave you, or you're borrowing it?
No, he like gave it to me. It is.
What?
It is enormous. It is enormous. Until he comes back.
See, someone in the chat says, my TV somehow looks better reflected on my coffee table. I don't know if he's joking, but maybe he understands me.
Dan, tell Try about the SVHS player that I went home with today.
It's a monstrosity. I don't know. My wife told me she wanted to back up some old VHS tapes, so I went insane and tried to find like the best possible way to do that. Ended up getting like time-based converters but anyways, I got this.
I will go and get it once I'm done with stuff. I will make it as full screen as I can just to kind of show it off.
But this thing is like a 5U rack mount looking VCR.
Oh wow!
It's gigantic.
So so you're talking about time-based converters? Does it have one built in or?
No, it doesn't have one built in. But it's literally like a $900.
I wonder if you could get like a card or something for it that would have it.
I think you can't put a card in. It's got multiple slots, but it's like literally a $900 Pro JVC player.
And how did you come across it?
A government auction. My wife was so mad at me when she came home and saw me like hooking this up. She's like, "What are you doing?" And she's been bugging me to get rid of it ever since. And
well, you happen to know the right people.
So.
Or if your wife ever decides you're not allowed to have it either, I'll take it.
The thing is, it weighs probably 50 pounds, maybe.
Yeah, it's.
So I mean,
it's
shipping
intense.
it would be a nightmare.
But did you get your use out of it? Did it work pretty well?
I never used it. I have a couple other Super VHS players that I used first, and then it got me in that like VHS tape looking era. So I was just have my searches and just saw one pop up, and I was like, wow, that thing's like $900. I'm gonna try and get it, and I got it for nothing, pretty much. So I don't know.
I mean, I don't know exactly what I'm going to use it for, but it's always good to have.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
I've always kind of wanted to get like a rack mount cart just to put like rack mount type stuff in for no particular reason. Like I don't know why I would have that, but I mean I've got rack mount gear. I don't know if I could actually make it like a functional thing, or if I would just like decorate it with like rack mount crap that I've accumulated over the years.
like a couple Extron units, a couple video processors.
Yeah, why not?
Put a PVM in there,
No, I've got a Sony CVM, which I don't know like how old it is or like what exactly defines a CVM, but it's got like I took it off, but it does have a rack mount frame with it, but it only has like composite video, I guess. It's got like a weird connector. It says, I think it says VTR. I researched what it does once, but I don't remember. Yeah, it's definitely pretty old. It's not anything impressive at all.
I wish I would have kept all my old VGA CRTs, for my old computers. I had like some 21-inch monitors. And that's the thing is, when LCDs came out, it's like, why do I want these junkers? Get these out of here. And I wish I would.
Didn't know how good they were.
Yeah.
I've got a run-of-the-mill VGA monitor. This is pretty okay. It doesn't look bad at all. I think the brand's out like KDL or something like that. Pretty generic. And then I got an NEC one almost a year ago. Picked it up on my way out of Cincinnati when I was at Corey's in January, and it's like really nice multi-scan NEC monitor. Oh, we got a $5 donation from Austin the RPG Nut. Any Western RPGs or JRPGs on PS4 or Switch you guys want to recommend? Need some more for my secret RPG habit.
I don't know how secret it is if you're calling yourself the RPG nut.
Yeah, also the RPG nut. I mean, I feel intimidated. I feel like I couldn't possibly have any hidden gems to offer the RPG nut. I'm like 25 hours into Dragon Quest XI, which is awesome, but I just have had so little time to play it. I'm still fantasizing about what if I could possibly finish that before the end of the year. I would love to be able to do that. I really liked playing. I imported the physical Switch version of I Am Setsuna, which has English on if you put it in an English language system, and I really like that. A lot of people don't seem to like it, but it was really interesting. I thought it was a pretty good game. Anything else for Switch or PS4? Corey loves Ys 8, which I guess you could consider an action RPG.
Yeah, and you better get it before it's hard to find.
Yeah, apparently the PS4 version is kind of getting it's above retail price now, which is kind of crazy. Frank Strasser mentioned Xenoblade 2. I could not get into Xenoblade 2. I actually sold it, which makes me sad, but I did.
For now, you'll rebuy it eventually. That's how it goes.
I played like 13, 14 hours into it, and like I just thought the battle system was just boring as all get out. Like I actually think my favorite Xenoblade game is Xenoblade X, which like not very many people really like, but I really like that game. Absolutely superb battle system. Just one of my favorite battle systems. Gosh, I mean, I'm on the spot trying to think of RPGs. And I'm blanking right now. A lot of the Western RPGs this current generation,
We got another one.
I'm really behind on. We got a £5 donation from Kev Blackwood. We played Stormwind on Dreamcast. Playing it right now. What a game! I don't know anything about Stormwind. I am not a Dreamcast.
I think it's a shooter, but I have not played it either. So, what is the general chat reaction to this mod based on what they've seen in tonight's stream?
I mean, I know I saw Joe Redifer early in the stream saying he likes the look of it. I think you might need to up your bit rate for future streams, because I've seen it get a bit messy at times.
Oh, really? Okay, I will do that. I wonder if something changed.
Yeah, maybe you accidentally changed something. Or you changed it because you're having problems or something. Yeah. Especially when the Dreamcast logo appears.
It gets real bad.
There's a lot of noise around that.
Okay. I don't know why.
You would think that bit rate would be fine there though, because there's almost no colors.
It's so simple. Yeah, I don't know, but it happens every time.
Okay. Well, you'll have to tell me what yours is.
Right. Oddly enough, like looking at all this chaos, it looks pretty okay.
But I have the bandwidth to do it. I should be doing it.
Yeah. I almost wonder if it could be like a keyframe distance issue too. That's something I've never really tweaked manually. Because like when the Dreamcast logo appears, like it does the swirly, and then there's like a bunch of noise around it, and then after like a second, it pops in and is clean. Wow, Attack of the Pixel says, I have every RPG released on Western PS4. JRPG and Western and Indie. That is a strong claim. I don't know how you can back that up, but that is a strong claim. Now, are you talking physical only or physical and digital? That is... And how are you defining RPG? I mean, every game has RPG elements nowadays.
Fonzie just asked if 240p games work on the DC HDMI, and that is correct. They do work.
They do. It's kind of a roundabout way. It's not like a 1080p though. You have to.
Yeah, it's line double, but it's line double to 480p.
Yeah, I can show what it looks like.
So it changes the output mode if you choose one of those games?
Well,
no,
it's
you have
like the clock, right? The clock, it can't do it.
Yeah, we would need a bigger full frame buffer to be able to get 240p to 480i. I mean, not 480i, 1080p.
Yeah. So basically, let's see. So Bangai-O is like the one that we were doing earlier. So you go to 240p. I think I might. This is what happens if you try to force it to VGA. Let's see what happens right now. Hang on. So I'm forcing this to 240p, and it shows up like that. So what I have to do is, it's weird, and it's weird that it's like kind of outside of the. You see all the stuff that's outside of the overscan. In this.
Huh. Wow, that's.
This only occurs with this game.
Weird that would even that much background would even exist.
I know.
Like outside
come on.
the area that's expected to be seen.
It's like that's almost the forced VGA that's happening with the patching.
Yeah, so you got to go to like video mode settings and then cable detect, then restart the system. So it goes into, so it becomes 480i because 240p, it only works if the system is in 480i as well.
Yeah, so you have to hold left and start down.
Right. Or L and like the L trigger.
Yeah, so, left trigger and start.
So you go into that, and that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, because if VGA mode is enabled, it won't, 240p mode doesn't work. So you go in and you have like, so I'm going into, it's going to be Bob the Interlace. But then this is what it does when it's not, when you try to go higher than 480p with it. It's weird. Like the effect of it is weird.
It's off by one line, so it constantly cycles through.
So then I can go to output resolution and 40p or VGA, and it will. Oh, that's right. It was like off to the left if you go to 40p.
Yeah, you'd want VGA.
Right. And then you'd have to squeeze it. But 40p, if you go to 40p, it shows up correctly on my main TV. But not.
No, it's just that this capture card is kind of weird receiving 480p stuff. Like it shows, or not 480p, 4.3. Like it displays correctly in the capture software, but it doesn't actually capture that way or send it to OBS that way.
Right, squeeze it manually on TV settings. Yeah, I mean it's weird how it works.
Well,
and when it comes to like playing in 240p, I feel like I will just use the OSSC for playing 240p, capturing 240p on the Dreamcast.
So you're going to keep something connected.
Oh yeah. Because I mean,
you could. I mean, if your only purpose is for like 480i or 240p games, you could just use an RGB cable, like a SCART cable.
Right, and I believe that Retro Gaming Cables is working on one for it as well.
Yeah, they're coming out with a new cable that it'll do 480p and 40i over the same cable. They're just doing a sync combiner for C-Sync.
And that can like totally replace the Toro then.
The Garo.
Yeah. Sometimes this happens when I try to reboot once I'm in VGA mode and I try to reboot into Force VGA. Sometimes it's just like
Yeah, I had that TV when it's like the TV doesn't pick up the change.
right.
Like you kind of saw that my Vizio TV does that. It thinks it's like an invalid format. But it only really seems to happen when you go from non-VGA to VGA. Sorry to make you get up, Corey.
For the last thing, I'll just do
Michael Gronvelt in the chat is asking, how do us folks out in TV land get a DC HDMI?
What's TV land?
I guess the people who are watching us.
Right now, there's going to be 30 that go up for sale on Wednesday. It'll be
what's the website for it?
Shop.dansprojects.com.
Oh, there we go.
But I'm going to put 30 up on Wednesday, and I'll probably put those up probably at night to try and help West Coast people. On the Saturday one, I posted them up around 10, so that was going to be pretty early on West Coast people, so I'm going to let them kind of have a chance. And then after that, I'll do a pre-order and order as many as we need to order.
Does it output full range or limited range, or is there options, or what is it?
It's just full range.
Okay.
But you said you were considering adding it in a future firmware.
That's something that I haven't talked to Christoph. I think he's still in the chat, but
I mean, I think it's safe to do it. Covers the bases. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
Does he have like a list of things he'd like to add in the future to it? I'm sure he has a sizable list.
Yeah, we've got, like I said, 40i outputs, I think, up there on there. Someone just asked, will there be a dual HDMI RGB Dreamcast mod? That's not really needed since it already outputs RGB and does a fairly good job.
And VGA, I mean, which is also another type of RGB. But...
Yeah. And that's kind of what that Retrovision cables are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to pretty much have, RGBS at 480p,
Right.
which will work great for people that, have all those SCART switches.
So you can do HDMI and component.
Yeah, and Christoph just said limited range should be possible in the future.
Nice. It's just safe to have it. You never know. What are some other? Christoph, if you hear me, what are some other things you're planning on adding? You don't want to spoil anything, or if you don't mind spoiling it.
Or maybe spoil something here for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Tell us something Dan doesn't know.
But I think it's cool. I was saying, like GC video was something that, was somebody else's project. So this is, the first time that like this hardware is like all yours. Essentially.
Well, I mean, you go look on Dan's Osh Park profile, and there's like pages and pages of hardware.
Right.
This is definitely the most complex piece.
Mm-hmm. When did you start working on it?
Oh man, this has been a I don't want to say a long-going project, but we, like I said, he created this firmware like 2 years ago, and then I created some boards for it, and then it kind of revitalized him in the project and got him working on it again, and then it kind of went from there. So we've probably been working on this for a year actively.
Dang.
So
What were some of the most difficult problems to solve?
we had this really weird issue. So we designed the flex cable, and we had some interference. So it was kind of overcoming the interference issues with getting the signals down to the board. But we had this really weird issue that kind of had us hung up, and it was Christoph didn't have the issue, but I did. We were running the same hardware. You know, we went through a bunch of stuff. Ended up being, at the time, we were forcing the console in VGA mode by using a VGA cable. We didn't have the forced VGA mode working yet.
Uh-huh.
And Christoph just said we will add features as they are requested. So request something. But anyways, the VGA cable I was using had a cold solder joint, and it kept creating all this artifacts on the screen because it was going in and out of VGA mode into 480i mode on the mod, and we messed with that for weeks, and being something so minor. So
hang on a moment. I've got a fussy puppy here.
You can really see the dithering in this game, just like on the solid colors.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a weird look to it. When I first
this is a 240p game, isn't it? Or is this
yeah, I mean it can be 240p. We're not playing in it right now, so I mean I think this looks better than it would look in 240p, or it looks about the same as it would. Maybe even better. I mean, just with how good a lot of these look, it makes the 240p option less
important?
Yeah, less like interesting to me at all. I mean, certain games like Bangai-O, that's nice to play on a CRT. Like, I mean, they have the 240p mode for that, but I don't know. Like, I don't feel that I'm missing out.
Yeah, if it works in 480p, might as well go with that.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
thing though
is
is
it looks like crystal clear, completely sharp.
that'll actually be some interesting comparisons to do like a 240p with an OSSC.
Right. I mean, that's
versus a 960p. Because obviously the colors are going to be a little different. I think the DC HDMI is going to be more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's staying digital through the whole chain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very, very interested to do that. But I mean, this just looks fantastic. This is the first game that I booted up when I got back home.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I'm not very good at it though. This game is very difficult with the Dreamcast controller, I think. You can see the health grid is uneven. Oh, just like how one side is kind of cut off.
I don't see it being uneven.
Yeah, I don't see it being uneven. The only thing I see is that on the left side, like the edge of the portrait is off screen, is cut off. But I don't know if that's just like, I think that's just how the game is.
Yeah, that's
I'm so bad at this game. I've never been good at the versus games. I probably played X-Men versus Street Fighter the most though.
Bonzi's talking about the HD Retrovision DC cables.
Oh yeah,
I imagine they'll be great.
yeah.
So and that'll probably be pretty perfect with the OSSC.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of things with the OSSC is these 480p stuff is if your TV handles 960p. Wasn't there some talks about doing a line triple for 480p?
I don't recall anything, but it's very possible I missed it. So much happens like during the week. Things go up on Twitter.
Well, I don't know if it came out. I just thought I think it talked about. I don't know if I don't remember if Mark said that maybe it's possible or he may have said it wasn't possible. I don't really remember. It would have definitely been a weird resolution.
Is Tribeck? No, he's not yet. It's just an empty chair. I want to show him the VCR. I think that's gonna. We started a little bit late tonight, so I thought I'd go a little bit later.
Did Don say anything about it?
She didn't see it.
Or did you sneak it in?
She was not here when I got. she was getting groceries when I got back, so I was like, I'm just gonna run this upstairs real quick. No, I mean, she'll see it and she'll just be like, "What's that?" Sometime, like, "What is that?" Oh, or she'll be, what she always does. I mean, like she doesn't come up here very often, but every time it's like she's looking around. She's like, "Is that new? When'd you get that?" That's what she'll say about the VCR, I'm sure. I mean, I'm just gonna have it. It's just like in the back room. It's just gonna be underneath the table, but she'll undoubtedly see it and be like, "When'd you get that?"
You tell her I got it for free. She won't believe you.
I mean, it's normally $900. I'll tell her. Right. Oh, here he comes. Wait for him. Oh, look at that Crazy Taxi disc. Crazy Taxi 2. It's like a record. That's cool. All right, Try. I'm going to show you this VCR, okay?
Oh yeah. I'm ready for it. All
right, I'm right back.
You putting this full screen? Corey played Hydro Thunder earlier. He had an early version of the game though that installed that does not support VGA though.
So this is it right here. It's upside down. But I can't get a good handle on it.
Oh, is it JVC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys are probably getting feedback, so I don't have my headphones on right now.
I've actually kind of got a similar looking deck. Come to think of it, I've got a pair. It's an editing pair. Mine are white though.
Yeah, this is I think this is like the Pro model. I don't know the difference. What the difference between them is.
Yeah. Google it, Try. It's the BRS822DXU.
It's yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know why. Like, I wasn't when you're talking about how huge this was. I wasn't even thinking about the huge ones that I've got. So it's like it's big. I'm like, oh, I have a pair of those. No, I mean that one is more impressive looking though. It is more impressive looking than the ones I've got. I mean, my like the VCR, the recording unit on mine is busted, but the player I think still works.
I think it's crazy. It's got a jog on it.
I'm not sure if the one I have has this video though.
It is like the size of two lasers. It's not the fact that it's like big. It's just like it's really really deep. I don't understand why it's so deep.
Open it up and you'll see all the cards in there, and you'll see why it's deep.
Yeah, it has like a bay on top. You can open it up. Well, I wonder if I'll look for like a time-based corrector for it, because I can run things into it. Then I guess like use it as like it could function as both, which would be nice.
Corey, I think your VCR ate all your other VCRs.
Yes, I mean if it hasn't yet, it will. Got
They better keep
BNC
them
outs on the back.
separated.
It even has like XLR outs on the back.
Oh wow, that's pretty serious.
I think what's so funny, it's so long that it has feet on the bottom so you can stand it upright.
Yeah. You'd have to get
Like a
right
towel.
angled connectors though. It's got Dolby noise reduction. I mean, did you even use this one time?
I've played about 2 hours on it,
Okay.
and that's it.
But it seemed to work, huh?
The head needed a little bit of cleaning, but that was it.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't know exactly what I use it for yet, but it's like you never know.
Do one of those like throw it off a building type of things. My wife's been bugging me to get rid of that thing ever since I brought it home.
When'd you bring it home?
Oh, probably a year ago. She's like, "Where are you gonna put that? There's no room for that."
On the top of it, it says that it's a Class A digital apparatus. It meets all requirements.
Cirksy asks, Techmoan collaboration incoming?
He's
I'm
probably
not
got 9 of them. So
Yeah, I'm not familiar, but I am also very unfamiliar with the YouTubes as a whole. Corey knows much more about the peoples. the
oh yeah, he
YouTube
does like a lot of
peoples
cool
than me.
like VHS and restoration videos and stuff. It's pretty cool. I think you'd like it.
Oh, I'm sure I would. I mean, I don't not watch YouTube stuff because I don't think I'll like it. I just don't watch it because lack of time.
Yeah. Well, is that gonna do it?
I guess that'll do.
Dan, you wanna give the date and time, the website again one last time for the.
It's gonna be on Wednesday, this Wednesday, at. I'm not gonna give a specific time because I don't want my website to crash. So how I do it is you need to follow me on Twitter, and I will post
And you could do that
on
at
Twitter exactly when I post them live.
And that's Citrus3000psi.
Yes, and I will post exactly when they go live. So if you want the best chances to get one, follow me on Twitter, turn on notifications. You can unfollow me after it's over. I don't care. And then sign into my web store first, which is shop.dansprojects.com, and create an account and stay signed in so you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
There was many people that said, hey, you had 28 left, and then I think they spent 4 minutes checking out and then they were gone.
Right.
So have an account created already, but I think it's going to be a really high demand. So don't be upset if you don't get one. You'll get one eventually.
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It is really cool. I think that
And
people are gonna enjoy it.
there's also, if you can install it, there's also a list of certified installers on there that will install it for you.
Mm-hmm. Who do you have listed on there?
Got like Jose, Lee in Canada, a few other people, like 4 or 5 people.
Is Jason doing it?
No, he's not. he didn't want to do any mods.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
I may do some eventually once things kind of die down, but right now it's just with shipping kits out and stuff, it's just not really possible right now. So,
Well, it's cool. I
I
mean,
think-
when we eventually get to the Dreamcast HDMI, this is going to be heavily Dreamcast RGB. This will be heavily featured in that for sure. You know, it's a
cool.
hopefully like towards like closer to the beginning of next year. That's what we're looking at.
So we'll just say like a Q1.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'd say it depends on HD Retrovision.
Yeah,
really.
HD Retrovision, and when Retro Gaming Cables finishes their cable, because those are like kind of like the last two pieces, I think.
So
Yeah.
Q4 is what we're saying.
But I don't know what I might do for fun if people are interested in seeing it like more as a full screen. You know, to see the footage as a full screen type deal. I might actually make this like this week's Patreon video log and just like
Oh yeah, that'd
record a
that'd
bunch
be
of
good
footage
idea.
so people can check it out and kind of go through the menus and stuff like that. Because you
Yeah.
did a video, like you did an install video, but you kind of talked about the menu. Like you don't actually see the menu on screen during the video.
Right. Yeah. I just kind of. Well, I more went through the setup on the phone options.
Right.
Like going through that, like kind of there's a setting summary page that kind of listed the options, but I do not have a video that goes through, the menu itself or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, what I might do is just kind of go through all that stuff, just to kind of familiarize myself and kind of figure out like the little nuances of it, just like make that a part of this week, because we do a weekly Patreon video log where we both do different things and whatever we kind of want to talk about that week. So that might be a good thing to do for this week. So we'll see what happens. Well, Dan, thanks for joining us, and sorry about the chaotic beginning.
no, it's fine. Actually, you know what? Before we go, Fonzie just asked about the Naomi, and that's something that I have planned to look at. That I do have a Naomi arcade, that I probably will try and set up the HDMI mod for that at some point.
Oh, that's cool. There's one it's right behind you, isn't it?
Yeah, and I doubt I'll ever probably sell it, but I'll probably just, if it's different hardware, just release the files and let people have at it. I don't think that'll be warranted enough for like a factory run.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine more than 20 people wanting that.
What about that Triforce arcade board that you have behind you?
That's possible. That's a GameCube, and it actually
Yeah.
has a GameCube motherboard, so that actually would be pretty easy to mod.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That would be just hooking it up.
I mean, it'd be worth it just because F-Zero AX uses it. I think.
Yeah,
Like that alone is worth it.
and was Mario Kart's on there too?
Yeah, like Mario Kart GP or
It's
something.
a weird Mario Kart. It's very weird.
Yeah, I think isn't like it like Namco developed or something like that.
Yeah. I played it at Galloping Ghost. It's very strange.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, look for the GameCube HDMI update in the next handful of days, I guess. Preferably 2 days, but we'll see what happens. Like Monday or Tuesday. Well, you know what? If it comes out on Tuesday, we may as well just make our release dates Tuesdays, because we will have like released every 2 weeks on.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
then it'll become Thursdays, and then it'll become Saturdays again.
Yeah. Well.
I would like to do the Saturday thing. It's just we've had a tough time with the past several episodes, I think.
Yeah. Although, the controllers episode is our biggest non-RGB episode on the channel now.
Like that was
in
fast.
less than 2 weeks.
That was insane. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how feasible Tuesday is, honestly. I think Wednesday's probably more likely, but we'll see. Believe me, I want it done as soon as possible.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Yep. Good chatting.
night.